Hello, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec podcast, where we help you create a team worth leading. As always, I'm your host, Aviv Ben-Yosef, and today we'll be talking about progress. Before I get to that, this is the last call. 2 days after this goes out, I'll be holding my free live session, Sparing the Midnight Oil, about creating a team that has a healthy sense of urgency without going through an emergency, about having your team be effective and productive without suffering burnout. You need this. There's no reason not to sign up. It's free, and even if you can't attend, you're going to get the recording if you sign up. So, the link is in the show notes, and I'm waiting to see you there and answer your questions live. Now, let's talk about progress. There are probably a bit over 100 executives and startup founders globally that I try and keep in touch with regularly. As in, we talk at least once a year, with most of them probably several times a year. And whenever I do that, I ask them how things are going. I remember the situation they were in, and I try and see what has changed in the meantime. And if there's one thing that always makes me feel bad is whenever I see that someone, even if we haven't talked for 6 months, a year, is pretty much in the same place. They talk about the same issues, or the things they're struggling with are essentially the same. And it's not as if these people have been, just whiling the time away playing Angry Bird. Instead, it usually means that they haven't been tackling the biggest things effectively, or haven't even recognized that those were the biggest issues that they need to tackle. Because often they end up spending the majority of their time just putting out fires and not moving the big critical things. And when you have that, it means that you fail to create an organization that allows you to focus on those things, and therefore the important things never get any progress, where we focus on the urgent matters until the important things become fires as well. Now, progress, I think, is magical. Whenever we're able to show a bit of progress to ourselves or to others, we seem to get so much reward. We get motivation, we get feedback, we get this feeling of momentum, and with time we get this flywheel effect. And therefore, making healthy progress on the things that matter to you is addictive, and yet something that many of us fail to leverage. If you can recognize what's the thing that's really important, that would make an impact, and sit down and come up with a step-by-step plan to start making some progress. Find the baby steps to show how you're moving towards the right thing. You can start with the low-hanging fruit, that's fine, but eventually, if you start making progress, I believe it's much more likely you're going to get there, as opposed to doing other things and hoping that eventually you'll find the one solution to fix it fast. Because usually, if there had been such a solution, you probably would have done it already. That's not the case. When we have big things that we want to get to, we often have to go through the disciplined, hard work to get there. And if you're not going to start, it's only going to get harder, if not impossible eventually. Therefore, I want you to consider, what progress have you made so far this year? I'm recording this is the first week of May. A third of the year is gone. What have you got to show for it? What progress have you made? Is this going to be another wasted year where your only progress is going to be, time spent on Twitter? I'm hoping not, right? I'm hoping that you're going to have something to show for it. Some real, tangible results you're going to be proud of, and not just the regular, we did whatever was on the roadmap, but real progress. Something you're going to remember looking back even years ahead into the future. Anything else means you're wasting your time and not doing what you deserve personally and what your team deserves. This is why I care about this and help my clients. This is why I create this podcast, because we need to be leading careers that matter. Otherwise, nothing matters. So I want you to consider, what progress have you made? Would you like to make more progress? Come and join me in 2 days in my free session where I help people move faster. Want to make even more progress? You have my email in the show notes, and I'll be happy to help you. Either way, don't just sit there and don't move, because then you're like, remember those annoying progress bars in Windows 95 that had those files moving from one folder to the next, and you'd sit in front of them for hours because everything was so slow? Don't be like that. Don't be that stuck progress bar. Move things faster. You can do it. I know you can. And if you need help, lucky for you, you've got my email in the show notes. That's it for this week. Thank you again. The link to the free session is down in the show notes, as well as the link to my newsletter, the best newsletter online for tech executives, where every week you're going to get this podcast, an article, and 3 exclusive insights. Check it out. Thank you. I'll be here next week.